Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Tuesday. How is everyone doing this morning? Let's see. Good morning, Odie Green. Hey, good morning, Patrick. SEC says it's prioritizing Trump's proposal to reduce frequency of earnings reports, which is not good for volatility in the market. If companies actually follow through, you look what happened in Germany years ago. The companies actually went to a longer reporting period, had less liquidity and more volatility because there's less transparency. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, John. Good morning, Royal Palms. So, that's a good, late morning for people. I guess people are still coming in or they're tired of me. So, let's see. We had retail sales coming in 0.6 month over month, beating consensus of 0.2. So, that was a big jump. Remember, not inflation adjusted. So, if you have inflation going up, I'm not saying that's not a strong number, but it's not inflation adjusted. If it was inflation adjusted, probably closer to 0.3. Export prices starting to rise. Import prices starting to rise. What else do we have? We have retail sales year over year coming in at 5%. So, Redbook 6.3. What else do we have going on today? We have industrial production, manufacturing production, blah, 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 blah. Not much retail inventories. And then remember, tomorrow is the Fed meeting. Whoa, hold on. I hate when that jumps around. There we go. Hello, Charles. Hello. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, John. Good morning, David Atkins. So, remember, it's contract roll day. Forgot to mention that yesterday, but it is contract roll. Oracle up on, I guess they're going to be in the infrastructure providing for TikTok. Market just wants to go up no matter what right now. We're probably going to hit another blow off top. Another blow off top. Google, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, all up. What else we have? Everything's up today. Oh, consumer defensive is flat, so technically not up, but everything consumer cyclical leading. Again, it's raw markets again, and we had contract roll. That's also the reason you'll see the gap today. But it's still up non-contract roll. 96% for the 25 basis point cut. So that's baked in. Doubt there'll be a 50. That would shock the market and spook the market because of why are you cutting bigger than we expect. Back into greed mode. Schiller PE climbing close to 40. Can we make it before the market turns? Dave & Buster's down about 15%. Miss on earnings before the open. Ferguson. Nothing much. After close, Evolution and Flux Power. Tomorrow morning we have General Mills, which I always like to look at just for the sake of seeing what their comments are since they're such a big conglomerate. Then we have Cracker Barrel tomorrow after the close. So, what else do we have going on? Good morning, Heinrich. I gotta say good morning, Heinrich, and good morning, Anissa. All right. All right. So you see the big gap. That's due to contract roll. That's what it's about. But based off the next harmonic, that is now key support. 66.73 on the contract roll harmonic. Again, we're not getting pausing bars. See, this is not a daily pausing bar, but a 4-hour pausing bar, but it essentially reinforces the high. So I need another daily pausing bar. Until then, the next major harmonic is 68.77. We're looking at 66.84, so I'm looking at 6,700 if we continue to rally today. I'm expecting this gap to fill, not today, but on the next key rollover play. And again, cycles getting to the top on the daily basis, cycles at the top still on the weekly basis. So, is there a short setup? No. There is no short setup still at all. I will be watching the contract roll open to low price, but that again would not be shorting that. NASDAQ, next key area is 24,700. 24,700 is the next key area. Again, we don't have pausing bars here either. We're running out. This is getting so extended. We don't even have pausing bars. So you can see here, actually you got a couple red bars in NASDAQ, but they were technically up closes. So they still closed up on the day. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because this will definitely still on the contract roll be up from yesterday. We're at 10 straight days up. Cycles at the top, extremely overbought. Again, no short setups yet. Could we get some consolidation before the Fed cut day? Yes. Hey, Christoph, how are you doing? So I'm still in on any pullback. I'm watching again the low to open roll gap price. The Dow also rolled today, sitting pretty much opened at this next harmonic. If it does take out the roll high, we have the major cluster, remember, just about 40,400. Key support, bumping this up. Oops. I hate when I grab the wrong line. Grabbing it up just a bit. We're about 46,135 to 46,150 is key support. If on a bigger roll, if that's on a bigger downturn, if that is broken, then it's the roll gap fill. Other than that, no major topping patterns. Russell was not a roll today. Russell, remember, rolls on Wednesday. So key resistance in Russell is about 24.13. Key support is 23.95. Right now, we're smack dab in no man's land, so I'm treating that as a major support resistance today. VIX is up a little going into the Fed meeting tomorrow with hedging, because people always resort to hedging late. So I'm wondering if we see a blowout like they cut, we see a initial rally, and then the market starts to digest it and starts to roll over. After that, we will have to see what happens tomorrow, but I will be watching for more of a potential top tomorrow afternoon / Thursday morning. DAX, come on DAX, breaking down again, still holding the rotation zone. You see if I take away this trend line, you can clearly see the rotation zone. I'm still expecting, once the DAX finally drops below, oh jeez, can I not grab a line this morning? No, I guess I can't. I guess I can't grab the correct line. Once the DAX finally breaks below the 23,550, I'm watching eventually for to reconnect with the 200. The yields on the 10-year, trying to at least put in some kind of base. We'll be watching tomorrow yesterday's high. Again, we've had some divergences down here, and we got cycles moving up. But that's in the rotation zone, so any longs have to be managed closely. Good morning, Ted. You're getting better at trading gold. You just need to be calm and trade logically, not emotionally. Well, that's true in everything, Dark Screen. Can you have a look at daily charts of ZB? We can look at ZB right now. There's a single candle clear path. If it's going to continue, the target, just so you know, Christoph, is the breakdown candle, 119.20. Okay, you are into a clear path. Key support, if it starts breaking, though, below, be careful tomorrow if it starts breaking below about 117. Because it could easily see a pretty quick pullback into the 116s. All right, so be careful that. Otherwise, it is into the rest of a single candle clear path. So that is the full target, 119.20. Back to other things. Crude, trying to break above the 64 level. So I'm going to watch to see if this becomes support now. We're starting to climb a little in crude. This is not a double bottom here. I'm going to be watching to see if 64 turns into support and we can get above the 50, because then it will be a scalpy long for me. If it rotates back down below 64, we'll be looking for shorter term short setups if it can't hold 64. Gold continues to climb a bit, running out of momentum up here. Very overbought. Some divergences starting. But there would not be shorting this at all. Dark screen sleep would not be shorting. Key support is back at about 36.85. Copper ran into 50 yesterday, which is the next area based off that percent B buy for a stop raise. And now the support level I'm looking at is back at about 465. 464.50 to 465. Dollar index breaking down. 96.42 is the next key target area, breaking below this little support base. Going into the Fed meeting tomorrow. We are approaching oversold conditions and coming into major support, so I'm going to be very interested to see how this reacts tomorrow. What else do we have? Spiders just continuing to climb up through the next little harmonic area. Again, no real pausing bars here. No real pausing bars here. So, at least on the daily. Oh boy. At least on the daily. So, the next harmonic, major harmonic isn't until just above 667. But right now, if we have to do something on a shorter term basis, we have to use this little, this was technically a pausing bar yesterday, so we have to use 664.30 as the next minor area. That's not the strongest harmonic though. So, but that's the one we have. That gives us 664.30, then a major cluster at 667. The Qs also just continuing to go nuts. Next harmonic is 598.24. Other than that, no topping pattern yet. Bitcoin, nothing to do yet, just holding the rotation zone. Still, the double top that is triggered is not invalidated. What else? What else did you want, Christoph? You wanted Microsoft? Let me look at the daily. Well, Microsoft's breaking above a key support base, so yeah, it's a breakout play to the upside. A breakout play to the upside, that's about it. Above the resistance base. Above this key resistance base right there. And the first target from my perspective, at least for a stop raise, is around 524. There's a little resistance base around 521, but it gets through there is 524, and then 531.80 for the key first upside targets. And also, if you look at it on the bigger, it's pulled back in the weekly rotation zone, and last week started the weekly rotation up. So, and this is this doesn't have to be a tightly crowded stop. It could the stop can actually remain below 492.37 and just raise it at the first key targets. I'd definitely be raising something at 531.80 because you have a very key resistance selling pressure up there. Again, you have to make your own decisions. Can't give specific trading advice. I'm just telling you how I'd look at the setups. Tesla. Again, with Elon trying to regain the richest man in the world via stock price, no topping pattern yet. There is major resistance coming up here. When are earnings on that? October 15th. So, still with all the 0 days and everything else, and we don't have deliveries until quarter end, we don't have anything to really put downwards pressure on this. So would not be doing anything from the short side as at this point. It's just overextended right now. NVIDIA, nothing yet. Going to be seeing if this forms another daily double top over the next few days. Sorry, weekly double top over the next few days. That's about it. It's not a daily. It would only be a weekly. Oracle. There's your Oracle, another gap up today. Either, since we didn't get to 50% harmonic yet, which I'm watching now, I'm watching if we do rebound for a potential double top setup. That's what I'm looking for now, because this is, again, an absolute insanity, but it has to get above 332.23. You're welcome, Christoph. What do I think about silver? Well, that's a good question, Anissa. So let's jump to silver for Anissa. Silver, we are getting a divergence here. We're getting overextended. Is there a topping pattern yet? It's running out of momentum. So at least it needs a consolidation or slash pullback. Very key support area on a pullback. Boy, I'm just not grabbing my lines correctly today. Very key area on the pullback is between about 42 and 42.50. Okay, that's what I'd be looking for in the short term for a pullback. And you see here on the weekly getting very overextended from a rotation zone. If 42.50 does not hold, the next key level is about 41.35. But either of those, I'd be looking at then a rotation back up. If it drops a bit, now we don't know if it'll be a pullback or consolidation, so the next few days will tell us. And I would not be shorting this. Even though it's very overbought, would not be shorting it. If you're trading it very short term, yesterday's low is going to be probably today's low will be a little key line in the sand for trailing a stop. But other than that, that would just be for a potential take some profits and then looking to re-add on a pullback. SNPS. Well, it was taken. How big did they miss? Well, earnings, that was a 10% earnings miss. Do I have any thoughts on this? I mean, it's before where it traded to, it found major support. It's traded down there again. Personally, I'd be looking for it to form a potential bottoming pattern down here. Would not run into it yet. Okay, it's got to, based off this kind of reaction, then a little dead cat bounce would be watching it to try to form a solid base down here. Okay. So that would be key. I just want to see, based off those harmonics and then the longer term harmonics. Yeah, I'd be definitely looking around here, this area for a potential base here. It can still get cheaper from a fundamental perspective, from a P to E ratio, so I would not be rushing into anything yet, be waiting for a bottoming formation closer to that 378 to 385 level. PAAS. Yeah, would not be chasing it higher at this point. If you're not already in it, would be using these key levels to raise a stop. Definitely you're against a major selling zone of pressure and be looking for a pullback play into key support at this point and reconnecting with the daily rotation zone. There's a pretty key support level just above 34. So now if this continues to break higher, you're going to want to use your reverse harmonics. And look where that takes us, right around these major all-time highs, it looks like. Yep. So could this reload and make another run higher? Sure. Then my targets on a reload pattern, which is a pullback in the support and then a rotation back up, my first target would be 40, and then I'd be looking at closer to 43 to 43.60 on targets. Just keep in mind, this is the weekly chart. The daily chart, if you're going to be more aggressive, your key pullback level is around 35.50 to 36. What is that? HNHPF. Oh, I hate OTCs. I hate OTC stocks. Your key target is broken above a very strong resistance base, which is now support. Right here. Just dipping below it. Briefly there, but rotating back up. So your next target's 15 to 1509. That's your weekly. Your daily, you see any pullback into this area again, I'd be looking for buy setups between $13.50 and $14. Thanks, Charles. And Wolf exploded the upside after judge approved reemergence from bankruptcy. Exploded to the upside? I wouldn't call that exploding. Again, would I be rushing into this? No, I'd not. I'd be waiting. Again, this needs to form a stronger bottoming pattern from my perspective. I think this could easily roll back down, and if it's going to remain around, form a much stronger base. That's just that's kind of market we're in. Thanks, Charles. All right, that is about it. That is about it, everyone. Just peeking again at the S&P going into the open. Again, I'll be looking still for potential rotation back up / consolidation. I'm just going to be watching closer to between about 66.77 to about 66.72. I'd rather not do anything stupid today ahead of Fed Day, so that would be about it. And this market is really getting overextended. Just be careful with that. You're watching for an NQ breakdown. I'm being very patient going into tomorrow. Very patient going into tomorrow. And I'll be watching more for direction after the at least the announcement, because we have the press conference, which will say whether it's going to be a dovish cut or a hawkish cut. Sounds sort of like an oxymoron, a hawkish cut, but if they're like, hey, this could be it for the year, or we're going to, if they say, oh, this is the beginning of starting of 2 or 3 more 2 more cuts this year, then that's a dovish cut. Good morning, Mark. Let's see how the market looks tomorrow morning. With that, I shall talk to everyone then. Bye for now.